what do you do when the institutions of democracy, of justice, the courts, the media, all somehow collude against you and call on the great reservoir of racism to blind people to their own best self-interests? That is what we were faced with. You can raise the question, what amount of confusion, distortion, and demonization is necessary in order for people to disbelieve what they saw with their eyes and buy into another narrative? Beloved, as I was standing there that morning, bleeding from my arm, wounded by a Nazi, looking at my friends, blood soaking in the ground, I spoke out of anger and out of rage that welled up in me to denounce the mayor and the police department with all of that was in me, which, by the way, got me arrested. But after this point of darkness, and it wasn't just a moment, it was a period of time before I stumbled through my own spiritual journey and start to answer the questions that I've raised with you. We chose an experiment in loving ourselves. We chose an experiment in loving our community. We chose an experiment in loving even our enemies and wanting for them to be healed and to be made whole. We therefore set out on a process of truth-seeking and community reconciliation and healing. It was an experiment in grassroots democracy where all the voices are heard, not vetted by any court, by some tainted process, but all the children are heard. All the people who didn't make it into the court are heard. We chose restorative justice. We wrote to the Attorney General of the state and said, what we want most is the truth, so that we can begin to heal this deep wound that is now sunk down into the groundwater of our city, from which we drink every day and cannot figure out why we can't get along. And so we chose an experiment in courage as we sought our own healing, trying to live through a barrage of demonization and isolation and unemployment. And we chose in the last analysis to stand for the dignity and the worth and the enormous unrealized potential of all of God's children. And that translates in standing for a beloved community. You know, there isn't any shortage of houses. It looks like that. It isn't any shortage of food. It looks like that. There is a shortage of deep relationships one with another within the context of a community. And there is sufficiency. There we find our wholeness. And there we find the road to a higher humanity. We have, over the years, been pitted against each other. And whatever a particular historical epoch puts on the front, that will do for a while. But at the end of the day, we are not each other's enemies. We are each other's friends. And we have to leave that darkness and come into the marvelous light of a whole new way of relating to each other. Now, this was a limited process. It was for a city. But it was really for our own health and for the possibility that this nation might find a way through its history. Archbishop Desmond Tutu asked us, do you think this is going to catch on? And we said, we hope so. He said, I tremble for the United States of America if this country does not find a way to heal itself and not deceive itself.